Hey y'all, it's Nate here and I'm back with another video. I was about to go through my hair, but I said, let me put this video out before I get started because who knows how long that's going to take. So, y'all, with this video, I just want to talk about how I feel like if you haven't gone through your spiritual awakening, then I really don't believe that you can actually say that you are a spiritual. You can claim a religion, you can do that easily. You can go to a church tonight and now you can say that you're a Christian, or you can go buy a Quran, right? Is it Quran? And read about Islam and now you can say that you're a Muslim. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy ways for you to become into religions, but spiritual awakenings, you don't have really no control on when that's going to happen, when it's going to take place. I feel like spiritual awakenings is kind of like when someone first speaks in tongues or something like that. Like, we don't really have control to know when someone is going to be able to speak in tongues, for how long, or I feel like the fact that the way that we grew up, right? All right, so a little background. If you haven't watched my story videos, then you need to go watch my story so you can just get to know me, so you can know where I come from with my background. So I grew up in a very strict religion, apostolic Christian, and basically my mom was born into this religion. Her parents had all like 17 of her siblings grow up in this religion, and they all had a lot of kids. I am a family of 9 myself, so I have 8 other siblings, but my family is all different sizes, 12, 11, 13, 17, you know what I'm saying, 5. It's just a lot of us. And we all grew up into this same religion, into this same church. And what they fail, and I don't even know if it's a fail or if this is intentional to try to keep us away from it, which is not helping, because if we're not aware, then we're actually not in the battle. Okay, so going to this church, I've never heard anyone speak on, just spirituality and being awakened, and I never heard them speak on witches and warlocks and how to protect yourself, and how people can really be, your tongue is powerful. It can be a spell book, and how people can really do these spells or try to conjure up things, to do harmful things towards you, or to try to cause delays in your life, and all this, and this. In church, we have never been informed about these things. If you bring up a witch or warlock or anything dark, they will be like, oh, that's the devil, stop. Like, they don't even want to get into it. And now that I'm not in no church, a part of any religion, and I've gone through my spiritual awakening for some time now, and I have been ascending, it's like, yo, if I knew this information a long time ago, I probably would be on a whole nother ranking in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realm. Like, I have a super high rank already because, growing up, I always stayed connected to God, and I did build my own relationship with God, not the churchy kind of thing that they show us. I always tried to just have my own relationship with God. So I feel like it has grown like over time. And so now I know when it's God speaking. I know when I need to do things more urgently, or I know when I need to be patient when God isn't speaking. I just know these things now because I have been speaking to the Father for years. Going to this church, I built this relationship with God for years, but I was uneducated on actual spiritual warfare. I was uneducated on how much these witches or these warlocks or these wannabe witches or these wannabe warlocks really do, these spells and speak these negative things to cause delays, to cause blockages, to stop you from getting love, to stop you from getting finances and stuff like that. I never was educated on these things until I became spiritually awakened as a grown adult. You get me? And it's like, I'm starting to believe that these people are aware of these things, but they're choosing not to educate us. And I don't know if they could think like it's too much for us, we're going to get scared, so we're just going to, you know, humanize God and make it seem like this is our sky dad and he's always watching. And you know how they try to do it, instead of telling us to get in the motherfucking field. Okay, instead of them telling us that, you know, protect yourself, stay prayed up, you know what I'm saying, take some herbs when you're not feeling well, you know, to heal yourself. It's no holistic healing, it's none of that, you know. And I feel like I had to learn this. God showed me this, not even had to, because it just came to me. I didn't want to go to through a spiritual awakening. You know, I thought that I was already awakened to spirituality, and then God said, no, you ain't. And then it's like, once I went through this awakening, I started to ascend, and it's like, I cannot even do the same things that I used to do. I can't even think the way that I used to think. I can't even say the same things that I used to say. I can't even listen to the same music that I used to listen to. I can't do a lot of things that I used to do. You know, I'm truly awakened. I'm truly different now. And I feel like until you go through that real awakening where God starts to open your mind, you know, to everything that's going on in the world, you know, then you can't really call yourself spiritual, because you haven't been awakened yet to spirituality. You could say you believe in God because you're spiritual, but you're not actually spiritually awakened. You don't actually understand the things that comes with spirituality, you know? And this is why a lot of these, it's crazy, because a lot of these witches and warlocks, right? They will be up praying late night, putting spells together, doing whatever they're doing, you know what I'm saying? Just repeating mantras over and over, like working overtime, especially at night, because we're resting, you know. So they want to come into your dream state. They want to make, you know, fuck you up, make you confused, whatever, when you're more vulnerable because you're asleep. So it's like, no one ever warns you about this. No one tells you about this. They tell you that you're going to have haters, you're going to have jealous people, you know, blah, blah, blah. But they don't actually tell you how you might be in a whole spiritual battle, and, you know, you need to get in the field, you need to fast, you need to cleanse your whole body out because you had some attachments to you because of the people that was in your life, or because of the things that you used to do in the past. You get what I'm saying? No one, they don't educate you on these things when it comes to church. And I feel like this is just to keep us controlled. This is just to keep us stuck. This is just to keep us, you know, scared to even want to research and learn about that. You know, you bring up the word witch or warlock. I would love to see how these people will react if we brought up these things. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's real life. And there's so many people who probably don't even understand that their words are spells. And if you are repeatedly saying something or wishing for something, you know, you can be really like conjuring up that spell. And if the person is unaware, then they're not going to be praying against the spells. They're not going to be asking God to rebuke them of anything that's negative. They're not aware of these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the witches and warlocks who be born into this, you know, some people who probably seen their families involved with black magic and stuff like that, right? Witchcraft, voodoo, whatever. They're already tapped in. They understand the importance of prayer and repeating mantras and doing this, you know, consistently, as opposed to us Christians who, you know, might pray when we want to pray because God always protects us, you know. And I used to be that, like, oh, I'm protected, and I was protected, but as soon as I was enlightened on these things, I had to go on a fast. I had to get in the field, you know, getting in the fast. Get a fast going. Not 1 day, 2 days, like a long fast to remove all the blockages, to remove, you know, all the hater rays, just to cleanse my whole body, you know? And I feel like if you're not educated on these things, this could be reasons why you feel like you're stuck, or you have a blockage after blockage, or you feel like when you're trying to move forward with your finances or any type of goals, is always a stop, because we're not actually fighting people in the flesh. If we was fighting people in the flesh, motherfuckers would have been dead, because y'all not seeing me in real life. Y'all not. But because it's spiritual and it's just words and it's things that's being said behind closed doors, you know what I'm saying? Late at night, graveyards, all weird shit. People do the weirdest shit ever. It's so many witchcraft and voodoo, like, rituals that they be doing that is so mind-blowing and just weird as fuck. Like, I'm not playing at nobody's graveyard. Like, y'all don't even respect the dead. That's just one way. There's mad other ways. They can use anything and try to make it yours. They can get something that belongs to you and try to, you know, beat it up, terrorize it, stick it, whatever they want to do. It depends on the intention that is being put on this object or whatever it is that they're using, right? But again, I wasn't educated on this until I was spiritually awakened. I wasn't educated on astrology. I wasn't educated on tarot. I was not educated on witches, warlocks, just being in a spiritual warfare. I wasn't educated on none of these things until I actually was awakened. And then I started to understand that there is good and bad to everything. So yes, you might read tarot, but you shouldn't depend on tarot for your answers. The answers come from God. Yes, you might love crystals, but you shouldn't depend on crystals for the healing, because the healing comes from God. But it doesn't mean that we cannot partake or have these things just because, you know, God was tired of people trying to go and get crystals and thinking that crystals was healing when he's the healer. So he kind of just put a little into it, but that doesn't mean that having crystals is bad. Why wouldn't God want us to have anything that he created? It's here for us. That's like, we can't drink water then. Why wouldn't he want us to have water? If crystals does help with healing, and just to have it in your house, it boosts energy or whatever, it makes you be, you know, it can help you manifest things that you want. Why wouldn't God want us to have those things around? He made these things. It's just when we put these things above him, where we depend too much on these things and then forgetting it's about him. So yes, you can be into tarot, right? Imagine if you're the reader or you're the current, whatever. If you're the reader, first of all, it depends on your intentions, right? What are your intentions on these cards? Have you prayed over these cards? Have you asked the light, the heavens, God to direct these messages in these cards? There are some evil people. You have to test the spirit of who you're getting these readings from. But to say that all tarot is bad is crazy, because it's not true. There are some good tarot readers who intentions is 100% pure, who actually believes in God, who is prayed up, who protects their self, so that there is no negative energy coming off of these cards or these messages. It's up to you to find a reader that works for you. But I would never say that tarot is just bad. It's the devil, because when I was going through my dark night of the soul and I was literally depressed and just was going through it for a couple of months before I shaked myself, I was watching tarot every day. God led me to this lady, Lumen Tarot. And I was watching this lady every day, and she was keeping me motivated. She was giving me the motivation that I needed. She was letting me know, babe, get up. She knew exactly what was going on in my energy. It's like God had her purposely in my life at that time. And I was just watching every video of her, getting motivation. And as soon as I started to feel like myself again, and I wanted to even get out of bed, I began to do what I needed to do. I started to educate myself. I started to really look into tarot. I started to really look into oracle. I started to really look into numerology. I started to look into astrology. I started to read the Bible. I needed to know all the stories. But these things doesn't take place until you are spiritually awakened, because a lot of us still carry a religious spirit. Because you were raised a certain way, you're judging people because you see them doing something different, when you need to take a step back and realize, hold on, maybe I'm not educated for real. Maybe I really don't know. Maybe what I thought I knew is not actually the truth. Because it's like people will say interpreting dreams is divination. How the hell is it my fault that I can interpret a goddamn dream? God wouldn't be giving me these dreams with the interpretation if he didn't want me to know what the meaning meant. You get me? These are things that's out of my control. I'm not pretending or trying to be anybody or anything. I'm not trying to be psychic. I don't want to be none of that. The shit comes to me. My intuition is sharp. I could pick up on things. You get me? So we have to educate ourselves, because the things that we thought we knew, we don't even know. And then even spiritually awakening is going to open up your mind to like the food you eat and the things you do, and juicing more and smoothies. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Taking care of your body. You know, going through periods of celibacy, not giving your body up. You know, no more fornicating. No just letting anyone in your energy or around your energy or inside of your energy. That's what happens when you become spiritually awakened. You start to look at yourself differently. You start to look at the world differently. You start to educate yourself on things that, you know, might have been hidden or just never was talked about. I really am curious a little bit if these Christians even really know, you know, about spiritual warfare for real, and how hard these witches and warlocks go, praying all day, all night for blockages, praying all day, all night that you don't get that new love, that new car, whatever. I didn't just come on YouTube and just make this shit up. This has been going around for years. It's nothing wrong with educating yourself. Yeah, you can say, listen, I don't believe in astrology because we're all humans. You can't say all humans is the same in this one particular group. But you can educate yourself on it. You don't have to believe in things to be educated on them. You should want it. You need to be educated before you can even say if you believe in it or not. How can you judge something and you don't even know what you're judging for real? You're judging things because you still have a religious spirit lingering in you, because you were taught that it's the devil, it's wrong, it's a sin. So you still got that religious spirit working in you because you haven't actually fought that spirit and educated yourself on astrology for yourself. Again, just like crystals can be used for healing, we can never forget the true healer. Astrology, it's just used to get the basic characteristics of a person, but it's not to give us their whole DNA. No. I can tell basic characteristics off of a person's astrology chart, but that doesn't mean that I know the person. I'm not thinking, oh, I know you because you're this. No, because I've experienced different types of people with the same zodiac signs. But a lot of people do have the same kind of characteristics that these signs give off. But then you have to educate yourself, because your sun sign is different from your moon sign. And then guess what? Every other planet has a sign. Your Venus, your Pluto, everything. Jupiter is all different signs. Mars. And they all mean different things. Mercury. So then once you learn people's sun sign, your personality, it's good to know people's rising or north node, because that's who they are destined to be. That's your destiny. That's who you're supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to move. But I would never be like, oh, I know you because you're this, this, and this. No, I'm just educated on every zodiac sign, so I know what to expect when it comes to certain characteristics that you might give off. And I haven't been wrong yet. I've talked to many people about astrology, and I have not been wrong yet when it comes to, you know, certain characteristics and explaining to people them about themselves. I have not been wrong yet. But because you wasn't brought up to know these things, it doesn't mean that it's automatically sinful. How about you do your research first? You can't say you don't believe in something if you don't even know what it is that you're supposed to be believing in. A lot of us don't believe in the devil. We don't like the darkness, but we're not educated on it. Don't you need to get educated on it so you know what not to do, so you know when it's the devil trying to play tricks on you? I like to be aware of things. I like to educate myself on things so I already know about things. I learned about numerology. Numbers are everywhere. I said it gotta have some meaning. What do these numbers mean? I started looking up what every number means. Does that mean I'm dependent on certain numbers? Or when this happened? No, it just means that I'm educated. I'm opening up my mind. My mind is very open to, you know, what these things can mean. Numbers are everywhere in this world. This is how the universe works. Why not know about numbers? If you read the Bible, everything is strategically done with the numbers. You get me? So it's like when you're not educated, you can be lingering with that religious spirit because you're still staying in the way that you were taught when it comes to these churches and these religions. Instead of you actually doing your own research, you're just sticking on what other people told you. If you're not smart enough to do your own research, I don't know what to tell you. There's new sciences every day. There's new engineers every day. There's new everything every day. You can't just keep staying on the same old logic. God will bless someone else with the new knowledge to help the new generations to come and to come and to come. But if you're not educating yourself, if you're still operating in this religious spirit, God can't give you this knowledge because you will run away from it. You would think that it's crazy. You would not understand it. When I became awakened, it wasn't up to me. It was like I woke up and I was a whole different person. It didn't happen over a long period of time. It literally, that one day, and God started to bring things to me, and I just wanted to get educated on everything. I started just researching about everything. But just because you lack that, just because you haven't done your research, you cannot keep saying that these things are false or these are sins or you're going straight to hell. Because the way that lady Lumen Moon Tarot helped me when I was depressed, I knew it was God. God opened up my whole mind to tarot. She understood. She was in my energy. She knew exactly what I was going through. This is why I can't say tarot is bad. This is why I can't say all tarot is bad. It depends on the reader. It depends on the energy. But that's with everything. It depends on the person, the intentions behind it. A knife is just a knife until you have someone with bad intentions holding the knife. Now they're ready to stab. A gun is just a gun until you have someone with the wrong, bad intentions. Now they shooting. Cards are just cards until you have someone with the bad intentions who's reading negativity. It depends on the person. This is why you have to use your discernment to discern the people that's speaking to you. You have to find a reader that's for you, that is of God, that is of the light. If that reader is always negative and you're not in a negative mind state, you already past that stage, then maybe you either need to find a new reader, or maybe this reader intentions, this reader might not be the right reader, period. But sometimes certain readers, we might outgrow them. So they were there, they were working with me when I was in the dark night of the soul, but now I'm out of the dark night of the soul, right? And now I am getting my blessings. I went through my Job season. God humbled me and took everything. So now I like readers that is speaking on that, who's in that energy. That doesn't mean those other readers that's still speaking on Dark Night of the Soul is bad. No, they're just for a different energy. They're working with people in that energy. God is going to lead whoever needs to get them for that energy. But me, I'm in a whole new energy. So he's going to bring readers to me that is in my energy that I can relate to, that is on the same vibration as me. But we have to stop thinking that these things are just bad. Educate yourself. You're a human on earth and you don't know nothing about zodiac signs. You don't have to believe in it, but you should know the regular basic fundamentals of zodiac signs. You should know the basic fundamentals of numbers. You should know the basic fundamentals of the planets. What each planet is for. Just educating yourself. I'm learning that a lot of people that are not spiritually awakened or who don't get to this point is because you're lazy. You don't actually want to educate yourself. You're okay with the knowledge that you was born on. Your parents barely even know. They was just going with the flow from their parents. Some of them know. And some of them know how to do bullshit. Some of them know about spell work. Some of them know about spells. Some of them know about witchcraft, black magic. They know candles, burning, all of that, sacrifice. They know. They just don't want you to know that they know. And they don't want to speak on this church because they feel like if we speak on it, then they're going to be like, oh, how you know? But it's not about that. We need to start educating people the correct way. Letting people know that you have to fast. It's important to fast. If you've been in any type of toxic cycles, you need to fast to get rid of all that toxicity. It's not just fasting for God. No, you fasting for everything. You're fasting for God to show your sacrifice, but you're fasting so you could clean your body out. You're fasting so God can give you the food for your thoughts. That's why you're fasting. You're fasting to break some generational curses. You're fasting to help your lineage. You hear about these dark witches when they're about to do certain things. They make you come in and fast. Go through a cleanse. But us Christians, we the only one lost in the sauce. We ain't fasting. We ain't praying for real. God got me. I was just talking to myself last night when I was in the spirit. And I was like, yo, God, I know I could talk to you more. And I talk to God a lot. That's just my best friend, period. I said, but us with Christians, we just always know that you got our back. So we don't really trip as much as opposed to these witches and warlocks who is, full of confusion and doubt and depression and anxiety. So they're always praying and they're always doing these spells and mantras over and over because they're anxious. They need it to work. So they're doing these things repeatedly because they need it to work. Me, I pray to God and I leave my worries to God. I pray to God and I have faith that God is doing what he needs to do. But when you're doing bullshit that you ain't supposed to be doing, you're a little bit more antsy. You're a little bit more worried. You're like, oh, is it working? Did that spell I just did work? Damn, it's not working. She's still happy. She's still doing this. No, bitch, it ain't working. I'm protected. But in order for me to get to that protected state, I had to cleanse my body out. I had to go on a fast. I had to get educated on spell work. I had to educate myself on witchcraft. I had to educate myself on these things. If you know what the enemy is doing, it's easier for you to trick the enemy because you know what they're going to do. You got to act like a fool to be the fool. If you act too smart, they're not even going to fuck with you. But if you act like a fool and you act like you don't know, now you on the same level with them. what they say, the cops, you gotta act or think like a thief so you know where the thieves is at, so you know what the thieves is doing. Come on, man. You want to discipline your children, you got to act and think like a child. What would the children be doing? So then you know how to, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, whoever get me, y'all get me. But yeah, last night I was just talking to God. I said, yo, these witches or these warlocks or these evil people, these wannabe witches and warlocks, the bad ones. Because there can be some people who call themselves a white witch, which is a good witch. You're just of the white light. But you're able to manifest. You know the certain spells or mantras to manifest what you want, what you need, the good things in life. So there, listen, education. You need to educate yourself on these things. If a lot of these things are being swept under the rug, it's the reason why. It's either it's very powerful and they don't want us to know, or it's very powerful because they don't want us to fucking know. Educate yourself. If your intentions is right, ain't nothing wrong with it. If you're not doing this to hurt nobody, you're doing this to help yourself so you can help others, there's nothing wrong with it. If you're a tarot reader and you're just reading to educate and help people with the energy and you're very intuitive, that's a gift that God has given you to be able to read your intuitions and really understand the signs and synchronicities that God is giving you. Some people have different things that let them know that God is present or God is here or God is speaking to them. But you have to be sharp with yourself to know when it's something different or whatever going on. So you know, oh, this is God. This is my intuition. This is this. So it's not all bad. We really just need to educate ourselves. I feel like if you're not spiritually awakened yet, and you haven't left your old self to become your better self, you can't say you're spiritual. Because once you become spiritually awakened, now there's two choices. Now you know either to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing. Now we can judge you accordingly. But if you don't know, you just don't know. But if you've been awakened now and you know better, then you ought to do better. But if you don't do better, then now we know who you love better, because it ain't God. But you can't call yourself a spiritual person, like you're spiritual, when you don't know about these things. You don't know how important prayer is. You can't miss a day without praying. You know? You don't know about meditation and how just clearing your mind and being soft in your mind is important. You don't do no meditating. They didn't even talk about meditating growing up in my church. Meditation? Important. It's important to clear the mind and let the mind just rest. But again, if you don't know these things, it's because maybe you haven't been spiritually awakened. You can be going through your dark night of the soul where God is showing you a lot of things. You know, this can be after a heartbreak. This could be after a death, anything. It could be a big, series of events, serious events at that can take place, that can push someone into a dark night of the soul. Once that dark night of the soul begins, your mind starts to wander and you start to look at different things and start doing research on different things. It's up to you to go grab the information. It's so much education out here. It's up to you to go educate yourself. All right, y'all.